Hey everyone, and greetings from Radio Wasteland Records. It is time once again for our weekly check into some of the new releases headed to an independent record store near you. It's mid-January, so we're going to say just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to these new releases because there's just way too many to cover in a short video. Head over to our website, though, at radiowastelandrecords.com and contact us if there's something you think we missed or something you've got a question about, and we can look that up for you and help you out in any way we can. Before we get to the new releases, though, let's look way into the future for one of note that I wanted to pass along, simply because this is a bigger one, and sometimes you might have to take a little time making a decision on something like this. Not too big, but it is a very cool one. Coming up in March, we do have a release of the Violent Femmes, self-titled Violent Femmes. This is a deluxe edition, though, coming in a 3 LP box with an additional 7-inch single. Now, this is being billed as a 40th anniversary release, expanded edition, that will include that self-titled debut album remastered for this release, plus an album of B-sides, live sessions, and some rare demos. This will also include a replica 7-inch single, along with a book featuring new liner notes by journalist David Frick and some interviews with the band as well. So this big box set, again, being released on March 1st of this year, 3 LPs, the Violent Femmes Deluxe Edition, self-titled, will list for about $125. Strongly suggest that you put in a pre-order for this if this is something you think you'd like down the line. Onward now for the releases for Friday, the 26th of January, 2024. And we're starting off with a lost album by the Smithereens. This was released a couple of years ago on CD and digital, but this will be the first time being pressed on vinyl. Now, our description says that in the fall of 1993, in between contracts with Capitol and RCA Records, the Smithereens ventured into Crystal Sound Studios in New York City to write and record a new album for their very own label. The results of that 1-month-long marathon recording session is this album, unheard by the outside world until, well, a couple of years ago, and appropriately titled The Lost Album. Now, that's kind of slim on information, so I had to do some digging, but I found something that said that the 12 tracks on The Lost Album were rediscovered when the band went through some old piles of tapes and CDs for some future archival releases. What they found was some songs that were about 80% finished and some with rough mixes. And by the way, the original multi-track master tapes for these songs had been lost in a fire, which left the band with only copies of rough mixes on some digital audio tapes. But according to guitarist Jim Babjek, they sounded fine. That's just the kind of thing we like to hear. But again, I did read that this release does sound very, very good. So the Smithereens The Lost Album, this vinyl pressing, the first ever vinyl pressing, is a limited edition being pressed on gold-colored vinyl, and we're being told that there is only 1,000 units of this being pressed. So this is coming from Sunset Boulevard Records, and the list price looks like it's going to come in at around $32. But it's the Smithereens, and if you're a fan of theirs, this could be a very cool get. Also on the new release front is something from Future Islands. This is an album called People Who Aren't There Anymore. And our very verbose description, we'll just read a part of it. It says that People Who Aren't There Anymore heralds a new chapter for Future Islands. Future Islands, the People Who Aren't There Anymore, coming on black vinyl, but there is also an indie exclusive colored vinyl version, actually clear vinyl by the looks of this, each of those listing for about $30. And not too often do I like to include these types of tribute albums, but this one will make an exception for. This is called Jeffology, an homage to Jeff Beck. It's done by some various artists, and it's coming from Deadline Music and Cleopatra Records. The description simply states that it is an all-star gathering of 6-string virtuosos who bring their talents to bear on the songs of the guitar icon Jeff Beck, the late Jeff Beck. Includes performances by Def Leppard's Phil Collen, Motley Crue's Mick Mars, Toto's Steve Lukather, and blues legend Walter Trout. It also includes George Lynch, Jack E. Lee, and many, many more. So this all-star tribute, an homage to Jeff Beck called Jeffology, coming on blue vinyl, this one listing for about $20. On the reissue front for the 26th of January 2024, we're wrapping up the Start Your Ear Off Right releases from Rhino Records, and it kicks off with a good one, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, a 50th anniversary release from Black Sabbath. This one is coming on smoke-colored vinyl, by the way, and it has been a halfway decent Rhino Start Your Ear Off Right campaign, and I cannot think of a better way to wrap it up than with this just classic Sabbath album. So the Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath 50th anniversary on smoke-colored vinyl, listing for about $28. There's also a pair from Stevie Nicks in this batch of releases as well. First up is Street Angel, coming on clear and red vinyl, so I think it's kind of a clearish red vinyl. The 30th anniversary of her 5th studio album, pressed on transparent red. There we go. Originally released in 1994. This one listing for about $37, and we can also look forward to a reissue of Trouble in Shangri-La, coming on clear blue vinyl. This one listing for about $35. Combining the Start Your Ear Off Right with Rhino's Now Playing series, that list of titles that are coming in very cost-effective, low-priced around $20, and kind of a new compilation of greatest hits, but part of the Rhino campaign because it's on colored vinyl. We get a Now Playing version of Zapp and Roger, greatest hits from Zapp and Roger. The Start Your Ear Off Right 24 on ruby red vinyl. It's a brand new compilation, including all of the band's essential tracks, including More Bounce to the Ounce and Computer Love. Single LP on that ruby red vinyl, coming in at a list price of about $20. Also from the Now Playing series and included in SYEOR is this Now Playing from Ray Charles, coming on light blue vinyl. This one also listing for about $20. And this includes some 2005 remasters of some of Ray Charles' biggest hits, so this is a fun one as well. And finally, wrapping up the Now Playing / Start Your Ear Off Right stuff is a Now Playing title from Curtis Mayfield. This one coming on grape vinyl and includes 10 of the essential tracks from across the artist's catalog, including the smash singles Move On Up and, of course, Superfly. That grape vinyl version of Now Playing from Curtis Mayfield, listing for about $20 as well. And while it's not part of the Start Your Ear Off Right stuff, it is part of the Now Playing series. We also have a new compilation coming from Otis Redding, this one containing 10 tracks from that legendary soul singer's catalog as well. This one, of course, listing for about $20. That Now Playing series is a great way for folks to get in, get some inexpensive vinyl, and get some essential tracks from some very cool artists. Other reissues for the 26th of January, we've got a 25th anniversary edition of Just Won't Burn from Susan Tedeschi. This special 16-track expanded edition features the original album plus 5 previously unreleased bonus tracks. This one from Susan Tedeschi on black vinyl by the looks of this, coming in at a list of about $25. Next up, we're getting a repressing of Journey's greatest hits. This is a double LP version of this on black vinyl. 16 of Journey's most beloved recordings, including, of course, Don't Stop Believin', Separate Ways, Worlds Apart, Who's Crying Now, Any Way You Want It, and many more. Remastered from the original stereo master tapes and pressed on 180-gram audiophile black vinyl, this double LP of Journey's greatest hits. Coming in a little bit thick. The suggested retail price is at $42. Here's an interesting one for you fans of English folk rock from the late 60s. Here is Fairport Convention's Alive in America, 1974. So late 60s, early 70s with this performance. But Fairport Convention, by the way, an English folk rock band that formed in 67 by guitarist Richard Thompson and Simon Nicole. This one, of course, a live performance recorded in 1974 at a show in Denver. First time on vinyl for this. This is a double LP on black vinyl, coming in at a list price of about $29. Here's a new reissue of Vintage Vinos from Keith Richards. Vintage Vinos is a double LP on colored vinyl reissue of Keith's out-of-print Best Of package, Vintage Vinos, dropped for a limited Record Store Day run a while back. So this is one of those Record Store Day firsts now being reissued now for us. But Vintage Vinos includes 3 sides of music and an all-new etching on the 4th side, so it is different from the original 2010 edition. This package also includes 3 lithograph prints, also different image-wise from the 2010 version, and this all-new collector's item available in limited quantities, but it doesn't say exactly how limited it is. But Vintage Vinos from Keith Richards, this reissue coming in at a list price of about $36. Just a couple from Music on Vinyl to pass along for you. First up is something from Chicken Shack. This is 40 Blue Fingers, freshly packaged and ready to serve. This one, Chicken Shack, by the way, if you are unfamiliar, is Christine Perfect's album, better known as the future Christine McVie of Fleetwood Mac fame, but this was one of her first bluesy groups. This is a limited edition of 1,000 individually numbered copies from Music on Vinyl. It's being pressed on silver and black marbled vinyl. This one coming in at a list price of about $39. Also a pair of heavy metal ones from Saxon and coming from Music on Vinyl. First up is Solid Ball of Rock, coming on limited edition 180 gram gold colored vinyl. This one also a limited edition of 1,000 individually numbered copies and listing for about $40. Then we can also look forward to Metalhead, also limited edition 180 gram silver colored vinyl. This one also coming in with 1,000 individually numbered copies as well and listing for $40. One jazz reissue of note to pass along. This is Thelonious Monk and 5 by Monk by 5 coming on clear vinyl. This album was recorded and released in 1959, and it features 5 of Monk's original compositions performed by the classic Thelonious Monk Quintet. That, by the way, includes Thad Jones, Charlie Rouse, Sam Jones, Art Taylor, and Monk himself. So Thelonious Monk 5 by Monk by 5 on clear vinyl coming in at a list price of about $26. Finally today, we've got a cool soundtrack to pass along. Well, cool if you're a fan of Terry Gilliam films. This is the Time Bandits original soundtrack, a reissue of that. Coming on limited edition splatter colored vinyl housed in a gatefold jacket. The original motion picture soundtrack to the 1981 trippy movie by Gilliam, as we mentioned. So Time Bandits, the original soundtrack on that splatter colored vinyl. Wow, this one also listing very heavy, coming in at a suggested price of $44. And that is a quick check of some of the new releases headed our way for the 26th of January 2024. If you're local and you see something you'd like us to pre-order, just contact us here at the store and we'd be very happy to put that in for you. Not local, you can still head over to our website and check it out and contact us and we can put in a pre-order for you as well. Feel free to contact us also if there's some questions about releases that you didn't hear about but you think you may have heard. We can look up and tell you exactly what that is and what those prices would be. So until next time, this has been Jim from Radio Wasteland Records. Thanks again for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, do all that stuff that YouTube likes you to do to help spread the word. You folks have a great one. We'll talk to you next time. But this is the first time it'll be on vinyl. Fire truck going by.